Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the SARG Superspeedway Series for the 2021 Cup Series. Today, it's going to be for the Grit Marketing 200 here at Talladega Superspeedway. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Michael Norman. And Michael, we got to see an amazing finish last week at Daytona, and now we're at the much bigger and bolder Talladega Speedway.
Absolutely, this is going to be fun. 4 wide racing, probably, if they because it's plenty wide enough for that. We saw how exciting Daytona was. It's going to be all about track position and keeping your car clean, and who's going to be there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, points-wise, it's looking interesting to see. Only one race in. Stephen Gale able to get the win last week after trying to make a bold move coming out of 4, and all the carnage at the end, it's carrying over into every race we're expecting to see. But here at Talladega, it's such a different track than what Daytona is, just because there's so much more space for these drivers to work with. We were used to 2 wide racing last week. We're expecting to see almost a consistent 3 wide action here today.
Absolutely. Plenty wide enough to do it. There's plenty of room to make your moves. Got to keep an eye out on your temperatures, though. Can't stay tucked behind somebody for too long before your car starts to overheat and you lose power.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to be one of the major things. That's why we're going to be seeing a lot of drivers jostling to try to find some fresh air into their motors, and we'll see that throughout the day. But here up front, it's going to be the 9 of Brandon Hoff as we're looking at our grid. Going to be taking the pole position in that 9 machine with a 51.169. Pretty quick lap time. Lucas Cram, last season in the Truck Series Superspeedway champion. Now he's going to be trying to have a better rebound here today after not the best finish last week for this 44 machine. But he's going to be starting on the outside of our first row. Second row is going to be Robbie Lyons and Sean Howell. Excuse me. And, Michael, looking at the rest of this grid, it doesn't matter where you're really starting here at the start as long as you're there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to keep your car clean. Most of these drivers, you'll see them, some of them, they'll fall to the back, kind of just hang out there as they wait for the first wreck to happen, and it's bound to happen. So they just hang out in the back usually and just wait for it and come up near the end of the stage, which will be on lap 35.
Yeah, stage points, extremely important. And what's crazy is looking at the points, our points leader isn't even our race winner from last week. It's going to be Sean Howell, who's going to be our points leader just because of, Howell, excuse me. I'm going to get it by the end. Some of these names is my first time this season, and we'll figure it out by the end. But he got a stage win last week, and that's going to be carrying on and helping him so much with where he also finished last week in 3rd place. So sometimes you don't even need to win the race to have the most points. You just need to have a great stage and then finish in your top 5.
Yep, absolutely. Points are awarded to the top 10 in the end of each stage. So that's what's going to make those top 10 spots precious. Now, we saw fuel strategy come into play at Daytona, where the winner of that race is able to hold off on gas and everything at the end. So we could see that very well happening here. There's 5 less laps, but this track is much, much bigger than Daytona.
Yeah, a lot bigger, and also allows you to have a lot more space to try to avoid the big one that is kind of notoriously known that's going to happen at some point. We saw it happen early last week. We'll see if drivers can keep it green here for the first stage as the pace car is getting ready to pull off. We're getting ready to go green, but then we have to go through this long tri-oval, Michael, and this is where Talladega is so different from Daytona.
Absolutely. Start-finish line, not in the center of the tri-oval like you'd see at Daytona or most tracks that are D-shaped. Instead, it's right past pit road, 100 feet, plus way past the tri-ovals. We're getting ready. The green flag is out, and we're underway in the Grit 200.
As it's going to be Lucas Cram with a great start on his part, able to stay, but already drivers ducking it to the outside, trying to go to the back. And this is a normal strategy that you see. Sometimes drivers start this strategy off on the back stretch where you go off into the apron, but still trying to stay with the group and keep up the speed, as now it's going to be a 5-car pull away as we're waiting to see how everyone else is going to be moving their way around.
Switching lanes from the inside to the outside. You're going to see that a lot in this race. The outside lane is really the preferred lane. The inside is the shortest way around, but the outside lane gets a lot of the run and the momentum when they come off the corner, as well as side draft. We're going to see these guys pinching each other, trying to stay close and tight together, closer than you'd park your car in the parking lot, and running faster than you would on the highway. It's pretty much how you would describe a plate track race like this. Leading the first lap is going to be, I believe it was the 9 of Brandon Houth.
It actually was going to be Lucas Cram by 1/1000th of a second. So close, but Lucas Cram on the outside, able to carry that momentum off the front stretch. And these drivers, as we're going to be seeing, staying 2 by 2 for most of this race. Really the only time we're going to be seeing them single file is when we're getting ready for green flag pit stops. But so much room to work with. It's going all the way up to the high side, now dropping back. I believe that's going to be the 38 that is dropping back.
Yep, Sean Howell dropping back on the very outside lane. Could be strategy. Just going to fall to the back. Here comes the cars behind the 9. Going to move up to the outside lane. That is Robbie Lyons in the 15 car. He's going to grab the lead, and he's going to lead this lap.
Yeah, and that was a great move that actually started off with Nick Olson that was trying to duck ahead of the 15 and the 9, but it was going to be Lyons that followed suit. But this time around, now going to the outside, Nick Olson trying to get some help from Lucas Cram, and will do so, able to clear the 15 by just a little bit. But Garrett Maines just shoving the 44 and almost taking him off the course.
Lucas Cram, I'm not sure if it was a bump that made him go down that low or if it was him on his own, but that was an incredible move there to the inside, right in front of Nick Olson, who now moves to the outside lane to try to get the momentum back around. Who's going to lead this lap as they come to the trial? Well, it looks like the momentum is on Nick Olson's side.
I got to say, in the middle of the pack, a fabulous save by Mitchell Muma, who almost just dumped it in the middle of the course, be able to hold on, and now will drop to the back and just stay at the back end of this lead pack.
Let me ask you this, Sam. Are we going to see some of that aggressive pushing in this race, or do you think it's too early for that? You think they're just going to kind of just trade positions back and forth?
I mean, Maines is kind of showing us that he's already being willing to be aggressive on that outside, already giving a great shove about a lap or two ago, and now just staying clean on the outside. I think right now, though, or the aggression level is going to stay pretty minimal here, and probably until we get to the halfway marker. And when we're getting closer to the end of the stage, that's when we're going to be seeing a lot more aggressive pushing, just because those points are so much needed to find yourself into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Nick Olson leads that lap again on the inside lane. Inside lane's good through the corners. You can see the inside lane just pull out ahead briefly when they go through the corners, but as soon as these cars hit that straightaway, the outside lane's momentum kicks in and propels them forward.
Now, Michael, we always talk about the strategies here of drivers that are trying to get up front, stay up front all race long, and the drivers that are going to be just waiting back and waiting for their time to finally move up and just trying to stay safe. In your point of view, which one seems to be the better strategy from just whenever you're driving here at these super speedways?
Oh, I've done this many a times. If I don't usually qualify when it comes to a plate track like this. I will start at the rear of the field and just hang back there till about 15 to 10 laps to go, and then I start trying to pick a line and working my way forward.
I think another thing that allows these drivers to be slightly more aggressive here at the start is the knowing that you do have a fast repair to work with. There's only one for you in pit road, so if you get your car heavily damaged, you can take that fast repair, fully repair your machine, and you're able to take off again. But I mean, with a fast repair, it kind of switches up drivers' mindsets. Instead of trying to stay safe all race long, you can be this slightly aggressive at the start.
Oh, I mean, you would think that, and I'm sure some of these drivers think that too. But you also got to think about it from a different perspective. If you get one, that's your only shot. That's your only do-over of this race. So you don't want to have to use it until the end of the race when things start getting, when we're going to see the intensity really pick up with these drivers trying to get their way to the front. So they don't want to use that quick repair, fast repair any sooner than they really need to.
Continue to watch where these drivers are going to be trying to place themselves, and all just staying 2 by 2, and really neither lane are starting to pull away from one another, just kind of in cruise control where they're at, which is incredible to say with how fast these drivers are going into these corners. But you can see they're carrying so much more speed into the corners for the cars that are in the back. they actually have to duck high so they don't run over some of the machines in front of them.
Yeah, and it's like me and Tyler pointed out during the Daytona broadcast. These cars, when they're side by side like this, the air just around these race cars just pushes them side by side. That's not them doing that on purpose. It's the air around these race cars that are pushing them side to side and close together like this. And these drivers really have a handful when they're racing like this. Not to mention dragging the brakes to not run over the car in front of them.
Now, Michael, these tracks are laser scanned. They're one of the most realistic racing you can get online. But just wondering, with this track at Talladega, how bumpy is the course, and is that a factor that could be helping or hurting these drivers here today?
Well, in the turns, it's not as bumpy as you think it is, but here in the tri-oval, you'll see as these cars go, that inside lane, right about there, about a quarter of the way through the tri-oval, there's like a big bump, and you can feel it shake your steering wheel. And that also makes it difficult to hold on to your line a little bit too. As you see, we have a blinker, that is the 9 of Brandon Houff, who is blinking internet issues with the number 9 machine. They might be telling him to go to the back here soon, as it looks like he has now fully disappeared off the racetrack.
Yeah, and this was issues the 9 was having last week, and like we're seeing now, it continues as he's on the apron trying to find space to finally merge up, and he's got to be careful with the 9 car dropping all the way to the back in 21st position and even further. As Brandon Houff, who was one of our front runners, looking like a favorite, internet issues costing him a chance to be up front and costing him the draft possibly here, as he is almost outside of the drafting positioning here, and he's too far back. He's on his own.
He might be on his own right now. I'm gonna go back and look at him. You see him; he's definitely lost the pack here, but there could be a caution flag, and that could help him if he can get his internet issue situated.
And now it's going to be Lucas Cram taking the lead, and Garrett Maines all leading the outside group in that one machine. Garrett Maines got the pole last week at Daytona and trying to show off that he's got speed here today, as this one machine leading that pack on the outside, qualified up in, I believe he was in 5th place. So one of our faster machines out here, single car speed. Really, he looks like probably one of the best drivers for pushing wise. We'll see how much he is well at leading the groups, as that outside group really not able to get past that 44 just yet.
Absolutely not yet. The inside lane holding its own. Only 4 cars on the outside lane. That can only give you a certain amount of momentum through the corners here. But it's all going to come down to how well you can side draft to get the run, as now more cars move up to the outside lane from about mid-pack. They're going to try to ride the draft and get up there as close to the top as they can. As here comes Garrett Maines with about half a car length ahead now, but here comes that inside lane again.
Yeah, that inside lane trying to pull away, and the car that's leading that outside pack, that is going to be the 25 of Kyle Menger, which Kyle almost had a chance. He was leading the pack on the white flag last week, but then got spun out on the backstretch at Daytona. This 25 machine looking for a better finish here and possibly a win at Talladega.
Pandemonium on the straightaways. There was a pandemonium last lap that was at Daytona, and it was absolutely incredible and exciting. Hoping to see the same thing here as the outside lane now forming. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kyle Menger actually make a 3rd lane if he felt like it, but I feel like he's thinking the same thing we are, and it's a little bit too early for that.
Yeah, a little bit too early, and let's all stay in line, try to push this outside ahead of the leaders. And really looking on the back end of this outside groove, they were getting a little bit stacked up, almost carnage happening back here, but drivers able to single themselves out on the high side. And I'm just wondering, when will they try to go 3 wide? There's enough space for it. Do you even try to go 3 wide here, as these drivers most likely going to be setting up to come into pit road and single file out for that, probably in the next 5 laps or so?
Yeah, I'm not too sure how far the pit strategy is for this racetrack. I'd have to assume between maybe 20 to 30 laps, and I think 30 is pushing it. So we'll have to wait and see how far these cars can go, as I do know for sure that the 44 of Lucas Cram and the 1 of Garrett Maines, they're going to have to come in probably the earliest, because they've been leading this pack while the rest of these drivers have been saving fuel in terms of drafting.
Yeah, I think Lucas Cram for sure has been leading the most. The Mains was following suit for most of this time. He's been leading for the past 2 to 3 laps, and so his one machine has a little bit more fuel saved up. I'm pretty sure it's around 20 to 25 that the drivers can go for fuel, but we'll see how far they really want to push it. Like we said, the end of stage 1 is going to be at the halfway marker at the end of lap 35 that these drivers are going for, and at that point, top 10 get stage points, and those stage points so crucial if you want to find yourself in the playoffs. And the playoffs, it's going to be chaotic when we get to that point here in the next, I believe the next 10 weeks. The next 6 weeks. That's when we're going to be seeing playoffs starting out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're riding on board with Christopher Lewis right now. He's that, I believe it's the third or fourth car on the outside lane here. You can hear him catching up. His car is just being pushed around by all that air, and as soon as he closes up on the car in front of him, has to drag the brake to make sure he doesn't really run into him, but still keep the momentum up of the outside lane. And they always say it's better to drag your brakes than to just let off the gas, because you'll never get that momentum back. It takes so long to do it. So dragging the brake really, really helps.
And it looks like Menger in the 25, who was about the 5th car back in line on the outside. He found himself going a little bit too high trying to cool off that engine, and now he'll be dropping to the end of the line of this front pack. Looking at drivers that are away from the draft, that's only going to be Brandon Hoff in the 9. That is going to be almost 20 seconds back from our leaders, and he is running, still blinking at the moment, but he's running so much slower than everyone else. I mean, he's just losing more and more time. Almost 2 seconds a lap, it seems like. And that's incredible with how fast the draft is carrying everyone.
Yeah, just without the draft, he's almost 20 miles per hour slower than everybody else. Our leader right now, Nick Olson, as we're looking at here, just took the lead. He just hit the top speed of about 204 miles an hour going off into turn 3, while Brandon Huff is only hitting about 185.
A little bit of shuffling up front, as now it's going to be Nick Olson who is leading the charge on the inside, but it's going to be Garrett Maines.
Look at Lucas Cram push the one of Garrett Maines out there.
Yeah, both those drivers ducked it on the inside, then ducked back to the high side, trying to get some help from Brett Murphy, and able to use that help, but they're getting a little bit jammed up. They got to be careful on that inside. As I thought for a second, Garrett Maines was about to get turned right there, but able to hold on as everyone's staying side by side still. But Murphy looks like he is ready to go. Second car in line on the outside. That 64 car is ready to go.
Absolutely. He's running the outside lane right now, right behind Lucas Cram. Fords got the two Fords on the outside lane. And as from experience of drafting here, the Fords front bumper and rear bumper line up the best of the 3 cars manufacturers out there. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Brett Murphy pushing Lucas Cram, literally pushing him, if not through the corner, then the entire back straightaway, if his temperatures can take it.
This track, 2.66 miles. It's a monster, and there they go. Oh no!
Believe that went down the back straightaway.
Believe that was the 15 that possibly got shoved out of there. Robbie Lyons into the infield wall, and the whole entire rest of the field able to stay going.
No caution for that as we continue to go. No caution. We are still green. That's a tough break for Robbie Lyons. He's going to have to hope for a caution flag, be able to come in and repair any damage. It doesn't look like he's too damaged right now, honestly, in that 15 machine.
Yeah, I mean, that is probably the biggest surprise with the contact that he made, able to stay put. But now we've only got about 7 cars on this lead pack that are trying to just pull away, as the rest of the field, they got all scrambled up because of that car spinning out. And now everyone is either single filed or just trying to find a friend to work with, as everyone is so scattered at this moment.
Absolutely. Scattered out is one thing for sure. And if these drivers keep racing side by side, eventually, if they can get to it before pit stops start, they'll all catch back up with each other again. Lucas Cram right again on the back bumper of the one machine, pushing them along. Now, I noticed that a lot of these drivers, when they get pushed to the lead from the outside lane, they go straight down to the inside like that. And that's not always the best move, because the outside lane continues to get the run, and the outside lane will end up being side by side with you. You'll be battling for the spot that you just took over. as he gets down in front of Nick Olsen. Now Nick Olsen pushing him, and now he's going to go to the outside with Lucas Cram behind him.
That's probably one of the most dynamic moves that we're going to be seeing throughout the whole entire season is that second car in line on the inside, able to duck to the outside and make the pass. Just like that, Nick Olsen to the lead. And it looks like he's trying to pull Lucas Cram with them, and they both are able to come down. And that's one of the moves that really helps those drivers. And you know, we see it all the time of, like you were saying, the driver on the high side, they come down, and it's more of trying to lose more traction and for the outside. Their momentum just completely dies off when you lose all the cars that you were having on the outside. But now we're starting to see everyone's single filing up. We're getting ready for pit stops here. And Robbie Lyons, after that contact with the inside wall, did have to come into pit road, got the damage repaired, and also got some fuel back out there on track, but one lap down.
He is in line for the lucky dog right now, unless they catch the number 9 machine, which is very possible. I'm not sure where the 9 car is running at this point. He's running through turns 4 right now, and it could be these pit stops that might just save him.
Only issue is Brandon Hoff is still blinking, and that's one of those situations that I think at other courses, at mile-and-a-half races, short track racing, if you're blinking, you might be able to still get away with it. But here at Superspeedway Racing, when drafting and bump drafting is so important, you need to make sure your car and your internet is stable. Everyone's still staying single filed out. Nick Olsen in the 24 machine leading the charge. As right now, this 24 car looking great. Who started in 7th place, able to make a charge and be up front. Great time for this 24 machine, but starting to hear reports. Drivers setting up for pit stops this time by.
Absolutely. Like I said, they can run about 20 to, I figured it'd be 20 to 25, 30 pushing it. So coming in, well, they'll be coming in this time. We'll get to watch. And we have a select camera angle that I like, that we're going to watch these drivers come down pit road.
They're just going to fan out, try to figure out their braking zones, but here they come. It's going to be everyone up front coming in. We'll see who wants to stay out.
Here we go. We got some cars spinning.
Oh, no!
Save it. Oh, it's pandemonium coming to pit lane.
Nick Olsen spinning around. They're all wrecking into one another as there's more caution. Yellow flag spins out. But so much carnage on pit lane. And Robbie Lyons will be lucky. He will be our lucky dog here.
Most of these cars were already on pit road when the caution flag came out. These pit stops will be legal for all of these drivers.
We're going to figure out what exactly brought out this caution, because I believe all the cars that were spinning out on pit road, that's not going to bring out the caution. I think that might have been the 25 of Kyle Menger that spun around that might have brought out the yellow.
All right, we're going to take a look.
Oh, no, that caution actually was going to be called. It was from race control that said, hey, that is too many cars spinning out on pit lane, bringing out this caution.
All right, I'm going to look at it right here. Everyone comes down pit road. It was the transition from the banking. A lot of it caused a lot of cars to spin. The 25 missed pit road completely, and instead of getting a penalty for unsafe pit entry, he actually managed to keep it going. I'm going to go back real quick and take a look from our pit lane entry camera angle here. As they come off of turn 4, they're going to come down, and it's just going to be pandemonium. Bunch of cars involved, hitting sideways. I don't think hardly much of anybody spun, if you think about it. I think maybe the 39 car did.
39 was the biggest spin, and that was a lot of the carnage. And then we also got Nick Olsen that got ran over by the 39. They got him into the grass, had to save it. A couple of other drivers behind him. And Nick Olsen was also getting a little bit squirrely, so... It's just so many chain reactions happen from all the cars that first entered pit road.
Really, now, my question is, with this caution flag coming out, some of these drivers, as you can see them passing the pace car, trying to get to pit lane before their car runs out of fuel.
Before they run out of fuel, and also just trying to get that advantage of all the other drivers that had come into pit lane. They were trying to just loop around to get into their pit box and possibly come out before some other drivers, but we're waiting and seeing. Where's Lucas Cram on track? They're coming right to the entry now. That driver should be getting the lead here, unless everyone else can get out of the pit box before, and they will not.
No, our leader, it looks to, okay, yep, it is Lucas Cram right now. keeping an eye on the cars on pit road here. Coming out here, a bunch of lap cars, looks like in front of Lucas Cram, that's being scored as the leader. The 39 machine, a bunch of these cars I think are either a lap down or on the tail end of the lead lap.
Well, as we wait and see when drivers are going to come in, Brandon Hoff should be our lucky dog for this caution due to the fact that he was not involved in this wreck, which I believe the 19 actually was put a lap down, and so was Kyle Dagger. So a couple of machines had to stay in pit road trying to get damage repair, and it actually is going to put them a lap down for those drivers. As now we wait and see when where they're going to be dropping in, as they are dropping back now. But Michael, I mean, the Superspeedway, the SARG Superspeedway series, it is one of the crazier just leagues in general, as it's all Superspeedway tracks. We started off with Daytona, we went to Talladega, and it looks like a car just ducked off. That's going to be Mitchell Muma that just completely stops on the apron for the 34 machine, letting cars go on by. It was a very odd situation, as they're still trying to scramble to place their machines.
Might have had something going on there. Have to wait and see here. The pace car lights are still on. And I believe they might be getting the one to go this time. We're going to wait and see how everything scores and settles out here. Still got a couple of cars ahead of our leader right now. We're going to see what happens with them.
Gavin Jones, Jeremy Jones, and then also the 39 are going to be getting, I believe, wave arounds here because they're in front of our leaders. And so they're going to be able to get their laps back. Kyle Dagger, Mitchell Muma, the 19, I believe the 9 as well, will all be staying one lap down. But, yeah, no, what I was talking about, Michael, is the fact that we went to 2 different tracks, and it's going to even change more. Yes, we're going to Daytona next week, but it's going to be the Legacy Daytona track, the 2008 version, and that track is extremely bumpy, and it's going to be a wild race next week.
Absolutely, it's going to be... It's wild and bumpy and crazy and hard to hold a line there. It's going to be hard to do side-by-side. Pace car lights are off. Looks like those cars that were ahead of the leader are getting waved by. Now they've got to hurry up and catch up to the back of the pack before they go back green.
Waiting to see everyone getting themselves set up here. Lucas Cram leading the way. Christopher Lewis, 38, 21, 57, your top 5. Michael, it looks like we're racing now to the end of the stage. Drivers should be good on fuel, and for those that took tires, do you think tires really is a factor here at Superspeedway tracks? I mean,
not necessarily as you can think of, but it sometimes helps to have them because your car can probably, you can move your car left and right a lot easier if you have the fresh tires. But so even though you don't think it's really needed, sometimes at the right moment they are. And we're going to be getting the green flag with less than 10 laps to go in the stage. So Sam, you better buckle in because we're going to see some pretty interesting racing here these final 10 laps before the stage.
Some drivers that really have not been moving up on the pack that are making their charge now. Christopher Tate in the 54 machine in 14th place. I mean, that's a driver to watch out for. Also going to be around Garrett Maines. Maines has been up front, has shown that he's got the speed to push machines up there. We'll have to wait and see how that driver is going to be able to react. Also, Robbie Lyons, after the carnage, able to take the fast repair. That 15 machine back in 20th place. So we can see up front in our top 3 once again as drivers getting ready to enter the tri-oval as the pace car pulls off. Lucas Cram, Christopher Lewis, the long wait through the tri-oval before we can go green.
Absolutely. It seems like forever from the moment that pace car ducks off on the pit road from the time you're actually able to accelerate and hit the gas for the green flag. Now, most drivers, you would see them hit the gas whenever they wanted from the point that pace car ducks in the pit road. Between now and they get the green flag, the leader has the choice to go whenever he wants, but you don't want to go too early because you never want to get out to a good lead here because...
Oh, no, they're already wrecking! Oh, no! That was, believe, the 45 and others that just had nowhere to go. Wheel spin and carnage on the back.
Absolutely. Back under caution again. I'm going to quickly take a look at that. I'm not sure if that was tires, spinning tires as people just catching the back, you know. Let's see what happens here.
That is, I believe it's going to be around the 48 machine.
Oh, Clint
of
Spillman.
Gingrich.
Clint Spillman. The 88 machine. We'll have to look at that again. He was, I don't know if he just, there was a bit of a stack up. That's what it looked like. If we're looking at,
the 21 of Jacob McMillan did not take off. So the whole entire outside was trying to figure out where to place themselves. They were getting all stacked up. Gingrich tried to go to the outside, got into the 5th, I believe. Was that the 88 that he got into? It was, of Clint Spillman, and then everyone else really had nowhere to go.
Yeah, we're going to look out of here. We're going to look out of here from the 20. There was a stack up. It was, I believe, I think it was the 21. 21 car did not get going. There was a big stack up. The I believe that was the 25 or somebody tried to get went to the very outside lane because he wanted to keep his momentum up, and he just ended up getting really, really loose at trying to avoid somebody, and it just came down in front and turned the 20 machine.
Well, if you didn't use your fast repair before with that pit road incident, most likely a lot of drivers are. That is, especially Clint Spillman is going to have to use a fast repair. No front bumper. You need to have all the aero and visual.
Oh, no. It was the 48 machine.
Yes.
Quinn Gingrich, he was the one. Let's see. We're going to ride on board with him from this restart here.
Yeah, no, he tried to go on the outside and then clipped Clint Spillman, who I think was trying to do a late block, and it just did not work out.
Ride on board the 48 car. You'll see the green flag comes out. Everyone starts going. Suddenly there's a stack up. Right about here, there's a stack up. He moves to the outside. If the 88 car moves up to try to go as well to the outside, didn't realize that Gingrich was there, and all melee broke loose after that.
And now we got a few drivers coming in to get some repairs done. Leading that charge is going to be Mitchell Muma, who was trying to get a lap back. I believe the driver that is going to get the lucky dog here might be Kyle Dagger in the 2.
Right, well, might be. Well, this is gonna bring up an even shorter run to the end of the stage. So we're gonna go ahead and take a quick commercial break and be right back with the end of the stage here at Talladega.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom t-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized, I mean, we do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customer and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. if it's a business or something, if you just race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com.
Hey, it's Wesley Outland of CRN Sports, one of the co-founders. I'm also one of the announcers on Live Sim Racing.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Grit Marketing 200 here at Talladega for the SARG Superspeedway Cup Series for the 2021 season. These drivers excited to see how the end of Stage 1 is going to go. When we go green, it's going to be 6 laps to go in Stage 1, as these drivers are going to be having themselves really exciting to see how they're going to be evolving through this race, as we are waiting to see Lucas Cram as well as the 38 going to be on the outside. Who's going to be making this charge? We've had 2 kind of fluke accidents so far, Michael, and we'll wait and see how these drivers are going to be reacting, if we're going to be seeing any type of issues, or we're going to be staying green for the rest of this stage.
I'm going to be hoping to stay green for the rest of the stage. Otherwise, the stage could end under the caution flag. And yeah, we're coming to the green with 5 laps to go left in the stage. So we're going to see some pretty exciting racing for any of these drivers who really need any extra points right now, especially for Lucas Cram and others, who's known to be out in the front for a while. So we're getting ready to go green. Pace car is in through the trioval. Green flags back out in the air. 45 laps of racing to go, but 5 laps left in the first stage.
As these drivers, I mean, we've really seen our top 5 shake up a bit here. Now we've got the 57 of Matthew Oliveira going to be trying to make a charge, but haven't really seen what this 57 has.
And there we go.
There they go.
Spin underneath the yellow line on the apron.
Yep, caution.
And there's the caution flag.
And with this caution, I don't know if we're going to have a 2-lap shootout or not.
It's possible.
Or this is the stage. We're waiting for the call from race control, but I believe that we're going to be having a quick shootout to see who's going to get this thing done. But it sounded like Lucas Cram having issues on his end that might have started that whole entire shenanigans that happened.
Gonna have to try and wait and see here.
Yeah, so got word Lucas Cram's shifter might have been broke off. Something went wrong mechanically for the 44, and it completely jacked up the whole entire inside lane, and that's where everyone went scattering.
All right, gonna take a look at it here, looking at the 95 of Christopher Lewis, who is an unfortunate circumstance. Yep, you see it right there. His shifter, when he went to shift, it looked like it broke or something mechanical on Lucas Cram's machine, and the 12 car of Gavin Jones just went hard head-on into the inside wall.
Yeah, and Gavin Jones, I don't think that he has used the fast repair yet, but some of these drivers, it's got to be now lingering over some of their heads now of, hey, we've had now 3 cautions, and there's been a couple of machines that have been pretty close to being involved in 2 incidences, and everyone's looking good right now, but we know second half of this race, it is going to get chaotic, and we're about to lose some drivers if we continue to see these cautions spreading out.
Absolutely. It's going to dwindle the field down. Still waiting on the official word on whether or not this will be the stage, as Sean Howell, who won the stage at Daytona, is currently leading.
Yeah, Howell has shown pace at a lot of these courses, and his 38 machine, excited to see him up front. And really one of those drivers, I think it's probably his best spot based off of seeing him last season, was seeing him leading groups. And he had a good pushing truck last season in the truck series, which guys can go watch on our YouTube page, Flatout Racing Network. But this 38 machine, excited to see with him being up front where he's going to place himself for the stage, because this is exactly what has helped Hal last week in putting him in the position of leading the points coming into this race.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, especially Sam, you've got the call. Are you listening? Are you seeing if this is going to be the stage or not? Because if not, they might just get a one-lap shootout.
We are still waiting on the call, but if we see that the lights go off this time by, we're going to have ourselves a lap shootout to see how this thing's going to go down. It's more of waiting on the pace car lights on if we go or not.
We'll have to wait and see. Cars ducking down below the yellow line there, coming back up. Again, I'm not sure if that's a good and easy thing to do here. We're just going to have to wait and see, as I believe the pace car lights will go out this time. And we'll end up getting a one-lap shootout. So, and that's going to be interesting to say the least here, to see all these crazy moves. And I wouldn't bet to see another caution flag come out before they even get to the back straightaway.
Yeah, I mean, over a commercial break a little while ago, I mean, you and I were talking about how those first two cautions were kind of flukes that happen. And, drivers kind of being impatient at times, but also understanding, hey, if you're not getting up to speed, you're going to be really losing out on staying with this front pack. So you kind of have to get onto the throttle, even if someone in front of you is having issues.
Yep. It's going to be crazy, and it's going to be interesting, as we'll see here. If the pace car lights go out, we'll be getting a one-lap shootout to the end of the stage.
As we're waiting for the lights, I mean, Michael, if the lights do go on for a one-lap shootout, it's gonna be one of those things of watching these drivers as they're starting to get lined up, and the lights are off. One-lap shootout to figure out who's gonna be getting the stage win. And even if we've been watching these drivers on these restarts, it's not always the person who's in first place that leads the lap once they cross the line.
Absolutely. You got Lucas Cram on the outside lane. He works well on the outside. It's all going to come down to whether or not the person behind you is going to work with you, or he's going to try to switch lanes whenever it's convenient for him. So the 38 car's got to be trying to make some kind of deal with that. I believe that's the 57 of Matthew Oliveira.
And also we got Jacob McMillan in the 21 machine on the outside on the second row. And McMillan, we already saw, didn't have the best restart. Can this 21 get a restart that is going to keep him right on the tailpipes of the leader on the high side of Lucas Cram in the 44?
We'll have to wait and see. We all know that Lucas is a good pusher, but so are the people behind him. Remember, in the last time that the 21 car actually did not get going, so that might not be such a good idea to be or good, for Lucas Cram on the outside with the 21 behind him.
Well, it's going to be Hal, Lucas Cram, Oliveira, McMillan, and Strayer. Lucas Strayer had one of not the best season with the trucks last season, and you're in the Cup cars trying to march his way forward. But Luke Strayer had probably one of my favorite schemes in the trucks. Now in the 41, we'll see how he can get this machine possibly up front. But Hal's got to be feeling great in the fact that he's already won stage last week, trying to win another stage here this week at Talladega for the Grit Marketing 200. It's a one-lap shootout. Who's going to be in stage points? Only the top 10 get it. And with still a lot of racing to go as the green flag getting ready to be thrown. Green flag out in the air. Hal getting a great start. And it looked like McMillan not able to really stay on the bumper of the 44 as that inside lane really gets taken off.
We're going to wait and see what happens The outside lane could come into play. It's still all you still got 2.66 miles to get around here, and a lot can happen in that short of time. Lucas Cram looking to get the outside lane going. You'll see him peek out, and here he comes. He's got a whole outside lane coming, and Howell's going to go up to try to protect the line, but couldn't do it. It comes back down.
That outside lane's got the momentum here. But Lucas Cram, he isn't there yet. He's going to need a little bit more help, and he's waiting to see what will Strayer give in that 41 machine to the 44. That outside line got to come, but Howell's got some help, and he's going to be it's only a 2-wide battle. Here comes Howell on the inside. I think he's got it.
3 wide on the outside lane. They're coming 3 wide to the end of the stage. It's going to be Howell. Sean Howell with the stage win, and the caution flag comes out immediately. That was a crazy one-lap shootout.
And that is just a small preview of what is to come. And I'm expecting exactly what we saw last week for the finale for Daytona. Yeah, you said the words pandemonium. I think we're expecting to see that for the end of this race. That was probably the cleanest and neatest way to finish out the stage. You know, it's not going to be that clean and neat when it comes to the end of the race and who's going to want to go to victory lane.
Absolutely. As he's coming around now, they're going to be waiting, maybe trying to catch up with the pace car. We did this last time we were here. Last time when he won. We're going to pull up our winner of the stage, Sean Howell. Sean, this is Mike and Sam up in the booth. You got us?
10-4, I got a copy.
Man, that's 2 for 2 in stage wins so far this season, man. Walk us through those last lap, or I should say the last lap, because it was just a 1-lap shootout.
Oh yeah, it feels great to carry that momentum from the last race here. During that, we had that caution under the pit stops there, and I went from 23rd to 3rd on that pit stop cycle, and that just put me in great position for the stage there.
Yeah, I mean, Sean, that obviously was so important for you to get another stage win this week. Does it just take a little bit off knowing the end of this race, you've got those 10 bonus points?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I'm going to be hiding in the back for a little bit now. Now I can be having those 10 extra points makes a difference from having to finish 5th versus being okay with finishing 12th or 13th, somewhere like that, because of all those extra points there.
Right, and that was a heck of a run. You really showed us, got a good restart, but man, Lucas really fought back, but you got him on the inside when everyone started going 3 wide, man. And congratulations, have fun. You know, get yourself some water, some things, calm down. Like you said, you're going to be in the back, and we'll see if we can't talk to you in victory lane.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Well, drivers have now gotten done with pit stops. Lucas Cram did come in and is going to be back in 4th place. You might be wondering, how the heck did that happen? Well, we had so many quick cautions that came before the end of the stage that some drivers decided to take their pit stops then. Brady Floyd going to be leading the charge of those drivers, and he pitted 4 laps ago. And now those drivers that pitted early, they got to be thinking strategy-wise of how do they stretch their fuel to make sure that they're pitting with most of the front of the group later on, once we have to have a green flag pit stop, if we get a green flag pit stop, I should say.
Yeah, and if that comes down to it, then it's going to be crazy. We know how far these drivers can stretch it, and that's roughly 23 laps. We saw between 20 to 25 laps these drivers can stretch it. When they go back green flag racing, I think it's going to be this time because they're double filed up and they're ready to go. Nope, their space car lights are still on, so we're going to go at least another lap here. We're going to see probably about 25 laps from right now. That's about 60?
Yeah, that's about 60.
About 61-ish. So they'll be pitting with just under 20 laps to go. But we could also see them pit earlier as strategy to try to make it, all the way to the end. The least amount of gas you have in your car, the lighter your car is, the faster it'll go. But you always run the risks of green, white checker finishes in this series, which I believe there are 3 attempts at it.
Ooh, a couple of drivers coming into pit lane with 1 to go. Gavin Jones going to be leading that charge. Clint Spillman as well as McMillan. Believe also you can throw in Dagger as well coming in. A lot of drivers in the back half of the field deciding to take fuel so they can go a little bit further than everyone else later on in this race.
Topping off is never a bad idea, especially when you know fuel is going to be on the line.
The fuel window is going to be opening up for these drivers around lap 56. I think that's when they're going to be feeling the most comfortable of, even if an issue pops up, they can make sure they have got enough fuel to make it to the end, even if we go into green-white checkered territory. And, for most of these drivers, that's another thing to point out, is for the drivers that are going to have to pit early, is will they have enough fuel if we go into a green-white checkered situation?
Yeah. That's going to be tough to call, because if they wait and they pit on lap 60, 61-ish, as far as their fuel can take them, then they'll have plenty of gas for a green-white checkered. If they pit any earlier than that to try to just make it to the end, then they might be in trouble. But it also just depends on how many cautions we get between now and the end of the race.
As we see up front, 24, 20, 44, 39, and the 1 are your top 5. As we're waiting to see drivers getting ready to go. Pace car lights are off this time, so that means we are going green. Michael, we saw stage 1, how it went. Hal got the win. Will we see a different winner, or will we see that 38 back up front by the end of this race?
It's way too early to tell that, honestly, because you have no idea who's going to be there at the end of the race. So it's really, I wouldn't count out the 38 machine from starting in the rear, starting in the back, hanging out there and trying to work his way up front if he does it the right way. But we still have yet to see a real big one here, and that's always possible, just like it was at Daytona. So you never know who's going to be there at the end and who's already used up their fast repair.
Pace car pulling in. It's going to be Brady Floyd, Nick Olson leading our front row, with bringing ourselves racing to the end here for the Grit Marketing 200 at Talladega Superspeedway. Green flag out in the air. We're racing to the end. Michael, it's going to be exciting to see how these drivers react. We know there's at least one more pit stop that they need to do if we stay green all the way to the end.
Absolutely. Brady Floyd did not get a good restart here. I think he has some damage that's slowing him down, because Nick Olson and Lucas Cram were able to clear him on the restart.
Could have been a little bit of a wheel spin. He is on slightly older tires. That could be a factor. But as we're seeing here, whoa, I don't know what car that was, but they really ducked to the outside. That's actually going to be Robbie Lyons that made that aggressive move on the 15.
Absolutely. Here comes the 1 on the outside lane again. Lucas Cram going to move up to the outside lane to get the run down the corner. Well, I thought that was the 9 machine up here, but that is the 54 of Christopher Tate. Had a terrible, unfortunate mishap at the end of the Daytona race for Christopher Tate, but here he is looking for redemption as he's trying to push his way to second place on the outside lane.
Yeah, Christopher Tate started in 6th, got dropped all the way back to the end of the field, just deciding to, take it safe for the first stage. Now deciding I'm going to run up front in the top 5. That's that 54 machine just trying to make as many moves as possible and trying to push is Nick Olson, also making the charge on the inside.
That's right, 36 laps of racing to go at Talladega. And among those 36 laps is one more pit stop for fuel or for something, as it looks like they're going to leave the 1 of Garrett Maines in the middle in the sucker hole as the 15 and the 54 car make the 3rd lane and try to go for the lead on the outside lane.
First time we've really seen 3 wide action, and we're expecting it to carry forward from here on out. I'm looking to see who that driver is that's stuck on the high side, but they are all on their own, just waiting for some help.
I believe that's the 52 Aflac Ford sorry, I lost my place here. 52, Stephen Gull.
We're looking up front. Christopher Tate leading the charge after getting a great shove from Robbie Lyons. Now he's trying to hold off the 44 of Lucas Cram. Lucas Cram just didn't have enough space to try to make the crossover move. on the 54, and we'll just have to wait and push, and absolutely shoving is Cram to Tate. Great runs by these drivers so far.
Absolutely. Outside lane, trying to get the run inside lane. Christopher Tate able to lead that lap. Here comes Robbie Lyons on the outside lane. Christopher Tate getting pushed big time there by Lucas Cram, but it's the outside lane that's coming. Look at the one. Going to try to put the 15 in the middle just like they did to him. Or on the outside lane. They left him out to dry.
Robbie Lyons going to be looking for some help. He's got himself the 9 and the 25 to work with. But that's that crossover move I was talking about. Lucas Cram now going to be going to the outside, leaving Tate all on his lonesome. Now Tate will have Nick Olson, but they just don't have enough cars lined up. Ooh. And that's going to be almost a shove. I think the fact that the one was not expecting the 44 to come down that fast, and that kind of just threw everyone off.
We have two cars up here. It's the 84, and I believe that's the 95. Well, 95 involved in an earlier wreck because of what happened with Lucas Cram's shifter. These guys back up here, same paint schemes up here. I believe they might be teammates, just simply for the fact that it's roughly about the same paint scheme for them. And they're trying to get up to the front here. Here comes the 9, Brandon Houff back. He was a lap down before, got the lucky dog, seems to have settled out his internet issues. And here he is trying to fight back up in the top of the pack here.
You just never give up, as we do have 26 cars on the lead lap. The 19 is the only one that is going to be one lap down, hoping for a caution to come out, get that lucky dog position, as long as he is not involved in that incident. As everyone's kind of just staying where they're at, staying up front. And it's going to be, believe, we've got a little bit of a group that's backing off. That's going to be led by the 64 of Brett Murphy that's just saying, hey, you guys go. We'll wait until the end of the race to finally make our final charge.
Yep. As you see him, he's just kind of chilling off the back of the pack here. Still has a sniff of the draft, but just kind of hanging back here as he sees how they're racing up here. And he's just wanting to stay far enough back that he can avoid something if something happens, but also stay with them so that way if he needs to draft back up there, he can.
And just looking up front, drivers trying to make some bold moves, but just not able to make them just yet. Lucas Cram still on the inside, but feeling the pressure from the drivers on the outside. Here comes Tate, here comes Maines. They are just coming with a head of steam on the outside. We'll see if they duck it low, and there goes Tate as the one stays following suit. We're 3 by 3 by 3. Oh, so we're third place on back.
Looking at it right now, this is going to be some intense racing, to say the least. Waiting to see if something's going to happen, and it's always possible that it will. Three-wide racing always brings the bit of uncertainty.
We're starting to see some of the drivers that are up front. They've been involved in wrecks, have already used faster pairs. The 39 has already used a faster pair. Robbie Lyons has already used one. So you're looking to see, these drivers are up front in the middle of this three-wide action, and one slip-up could be ruining their race because they don't have a faster pair to work with.
30 laps of racing to go here at Talladega, and they are 3 by 3 by 3. We are riding with Jacob Locklear. We're on his onboard camera here. And he's just about in the middle of all this racing here. And you can see him just trying to keep the car steady and up to the one car. You see when somebody jumps in front of somebody. Oh, wow, okay. Nick Olson was trying to move up in front of the one. The one was not having any of it. Said, excuse me, sorry, coming through, and left him on the very outside lane out to dry.
Yeah, Nick Olson, who's been up front in the top 5 for most of this race, now just stuck in third lane looking for help. But there's just not enough drivers in that third lane to really make a charge. It's more fall back and try to get that momentum later on. As our front 3 are trying to pull away, it's everyone that's behind fourth place on back 2 by 2. And they're trying to pinch one another, trying to make the other lane have to back off, slow down. As we are getting inching closer and closer to the window, and these drivers might be thinking about coming into pit road as they're spinning off on the trial bull.
We talked about the big one, and the big one is happening right now. Holy moly, that was a big wreck. Cars jumbled everywhere.
Locklear involved.
I'm not even sure what started
Lewis
that one.
is already teleported.
Christopher Lewis, Jacob Locklear, Kyle Dagger, I think
Robbie Lyons might have been involved in this one. Yeah, he got a little bit of contact, not enough to really ruin his race forever. He got some front end damage that could have caused some engine damage. Ooh, this is going to be tough to see. Expecting a lot of drivers to be in pit road for a long time, getting some of these repairs done.
Absolutely, especially for those that even those who haven't used the fast repair yet. So we're gonna take a look and see at what happened here. Happened near the front of the pack. I'm not sure who it was. It might have been Brady. Let's take a look here. Might have been a bad bump. Oh, I see what happened. It was the 95. All right, so the 95 of Christopher Lewis. I don't know if he hit like something in the track that caused his car to get loose, but he just, as you'll see this here, he just goes into the tri-oval, turns down the track into the 20, and that pretty much sums it up for the rest of the field here.
Yeah, and I was talking about how they were pinching one another, not really giving room at all. But that was such an odd spot for Lewis. I mean, that's probably one of the lightest areas your car's going to feel. So if it breaks, you really are out of control at that point. And it looks like that is what happened there to the 95. His car just completely snapped on him. And they were so close, there's no real time to react. And away goes a lot of drivers' days.
Riding on board with him, you see it kind of just got a little sideways. He turned it the opposite direction a little bit, but not enough to really overcorrect. And it just, unfortunately, the 20 car was right to his inside here. We're gonna take a look one more time at the wreck here from the perspective of Christopher Lewis. Camera keeping an eye on him, riding around the outside lane here, coming off of turn number 4. Just heading right there into the tri-oval. It's almost as if he got turned. Maybe just turned a little too early, and then they're just pandemonium after this.
All right, Michael, this number crunching time. These drivers just at a pit stop right now. By the time that we get one to go, the drivers will have about 26 laps to 25 laps to go in this race if they come into pit road with one to go. That is going to be putting them just on the brink of making it here on this stint. If we stay green, do you risk it to stay out and possibly just try to get as much you pit, then you try to not pit if we stay green, while the rest of the field, they got to be in complete save mode for the rest of this race?
Well, you're asking the wrong person this. I was not that good in math, let me tell you that much. But I don't know if it's worth it. These drivers may be able to save that. It really depends on how many more cautions they get. But at this point, I still feel like they'll have to at least come down for a splash of gas before the end of the race. Because otherwise, it would really, really be pushing it. Especially for people like Lucas Graham who love to be out front. Because when you're out front and pulling the train of cars behind you, you use more gas than anybody else around here. So we're going to have to wait and see at what's going to happen here. And we're going to go ahead and take this time to take another quick commercial break. And we'll be right back with more action here at Talladega.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Grip Marketing 200 here at Talladega Superspeedway for the SARG Superspeedway Series here for the 2021 Cup Series. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Michael Norman. We're getting ready. 25 laps to go, and it has been a crazy one. Lucas Cram going to be leading on the inside. Garrett Maines on the outside. The drivers did come into the pits 15th on back. All decided to take a little bit of a splash of fuel before we're going green here with 1 to go on the pacing. So green flag out in the air. It's the question of who can save enough fuel if this thing goes green to the end. Michael, we're green. The math is just going to be rattling off for some of these drivers. For others, it's just stay out front and race as hard as you can.
Absolutely. I hope that they have Larry McReynolds in their corner calculating our math for them, because right now, it's a real tough call from that last caution whether or not to come in. They all did, but now the question will be is if they can stay out, if this race goes green the rest of the way, when they're going to have to come in, if they're going to have to come in.
A lot of drivers able to get repairs done and get back out on track. One driver, though, is still in pit road. It's going to be Christopher Lewis in the 95 machine, as up front, Lucas Cram still on the inside, but on the outside, it's Brandon Hoff. He's back up front and getting a huge push here from Clint Spillman.
Spillman, a good pusher in that number 88 Wonder Bread Chevrolet. A tribute to Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. Now he's going to go try to take the lead away with being pushed on the outside there by, I believe that's Kyle Manger in the 25.
Yeah, really, the outside is a whole bunch of cars that have just had some bad luck during the day. Clint Spillman now going to be leading the charge. Like you said, Manger going to be following suit behind him. And then you've also find yourself having Gavin Jones, who had issues and had to come into the pits about 20 laps ago. So just overall, looking at some of these drivers and where they are now, a lot of redemption stories, and luckily fast repairs are here to save you. But for some of these drivers, they've already used up their fast repairs. It's a lot of hope, cross your fingers, that you're not caught up in the next big one.
Absolutely. Outside lane not really have the momentum as it did earlier, but just as I say that, here they come. Clint Spillman trying to push the 44 to the lead.
As here comes those drivers, Clint Spillman trying to give a shove there to the 44. So 44 and the 9 leading both the inside and the outside. And this was something we were seeing a lot in the truck series at the end of last year, was seeing the 9 and the 44 just leading their way and always being up front. Nick Olson usually would be a part of this group, but he's all the way back in 15th place. And really just kind of in wait mode, part of the group of drivers that were caught up in that last incident and waiting to see for those final 15 to 10 laps to finally make their final charges to try to get up front for the conclusion of this race.
Absolutely. There's one thing I wanted to point out for this too. Lucas Cram, he reminds me so much of Dale Earnhardt Jr. when it comes to racing on these plate tracks. This guy knows how to work the draft. He knows he wants to be leading. He knows that he knows how to get around, the drivers, how to make the moves, what time to make the moves, how to make the moves to be able to get the most of the push coming from behind you. They called Dale Jr. the Pod Piper of Talladega, and that's because he always loved to be leading, and he would always lead the line, and no matter where he would go on the racetrack, drivers would follow. And that's what Lucas Cram reminds me of here, as he's trying to push the one of Garrett Maines back to the lead on the outside lane.
Yeah, Main's able to come up after having some space as he was the second car in line on the inside there for a second. Now he's trying to make sure that 44 can get clear before he comes down. Not able to do so, and going to be staying on the outside, trying to get that momentum out of the tri-oval. Here comes that one in the 44, but they're still not clear of the 9 completely. I wonder if Mains is just going to come down and say, hey, I tried. Now it's your turn to try to make that outside line work.
See the 44 really trying to push the 1 all over the back bumper. All right, off the end of the corner, you should see the push coming, and it's going to be coming hard as he's trying to push him. They're going to both try to get clear so they can both move to the inside. Never mind, the 44 is going to shove the 1 to the inside. That's going to cause a big check up there, and you saw that 52 had to take a evasive maneuvers there to avoid running into the back of the 9.
Yeah, and luckily they were able to cycle that out and not completely wreck one another. Do want to give note, Jacob Locklear, who was a part of that last caution, has officially DNF'd, as well as Lewis. They have parked it, and they are done for the day.
Unfortunately, they have run out of fast repairs, so with no other choice, really. I saw Jacob Locklear out on the racetrack. He was, at one point, actually losing the pack as they're coming up on, I believe this is the 39 machine of James DeCarolis, and he's just going to have to move out of the way as he has no front end on that race car.
Yeah, right now, James, I mean, that is one of the most difficult things is when you have such a damaged car, you're watching the field just lap you, but having the mental fortitude to at least stay out there, and just in case you start seeing a lot more cars wrecking out, you can gain some of those positions.
Absolutely, and he's only 1 lap down right now. We have 20 laps to go. This opens up that fuel window for anybody who thinks that they're going to want to use it, because if they pit now, they should have enough to make it, maybe +1 green-white checkered.
Yeah, and we were talking about this during commercial break, Michael. I mean, you threw out a couple of strategies that these drivers could be thinking about using while out here, because you've got some drivers that are inside at pitted with 25 laps to go, and you have other drivers that pitted with about 27 laps to go, which is about 2 laps further than what they really can stretch it to. So what are some of the strategies these drivers can do while running out here to save fuel if possible?
Well, there's one maneuver out there that a very good friend of mine actually taught me to do in a completely different racing game. Not sure if it can translate over to iRacing, and that's the clutch. Now, and I know what you're thinking. Clutch at Talladega? What are you, crazy? Well, not really. I mean, you're like one of these cars straggling at the tail end of this pack here, right? So let's say you get a decent run coming up, and you're, instead of hitting the car or nailing the throttle, or not nailing the throttle, dragging the brakes, just turn the car off and clutch. And as soon as you start to lose them, they throw the car back on and nail the gas and do it all again. That's one way. I'm not sure how well that translates, as I have not done it myself here, but that's one way I know of to save gas on a restricted plate racetrack. And the other way pretty much is probably to do what I like to call the Carl Edwards strategy from Texas way back in the day, and that's literally just run half throttle, half to a quarter throttle, enough to keep you close, but just not gain anything. And that's another way to save gas here.
Yeah, especially with the new draft models that came out, draft update that came out at the end of the year. The draft has been so much stronger that now drivers can, if they get such a big momentum, they can really back off on their throttle and how much they're giving and using up their fuel to just really let the draft pull them along. As right now, Main's going to be on the outside and Lucas Cram on the inside, trying to get some help from the 9, and it is working out extremely well. Kyle Manger, though, in the 25 machine, just trying to get some type of help. It seems like he's just been pushing every car to get up front, but he himself needing a little bit more help from the drivers behind him, as they just haven't been as strong as that inside line has.
Yeah, absolutely. Inside lane is strong right now. It has the most cars to it right now. Outside lane only has about 5 cars, and you would think that you would see them moving up with a side draft, but with these cars not actually getting on the back bumper and pushing, it's not really, it's killing their momentum right now. They've got to be side drafting. They've got to be keeping it close, pinching them to get the side draft and get that lane out on the outside lane really going.
I'm just trying to do quick math to figure out what drivers possibly could make it to the end right now. And it's not looking great for a lot of these drivers. A lot of them are looking like they're going to be about 2 to 3 laps short, even if they're saving. And Lucas Cram right now, as well as mains in the 1, not looking like they're in type of saving mode. They're still in the strategy of lead the lane that I am in and make sure no one else is leading that charge and just stay up front. Most likely, both these drivers are going to have to pit with about 5 laps to go. If they feel like they can even stretch it, they've got to drop out and follow someone else to try to save fuel.
You saw the 25 poking his nose out of line there, trying to cool off that engine a little bit, as he's pretty much really stuck to the back bumper. You don't want to be stuck back too long behind somebody because the temperatures will really go up in your machine, and you don't want that to happen because you don't want to blow your engine.
Looking at the drivers up front, I mean, I think an engine blowing, we haven't really seen that happen here recently, but that is always the temps. You have to constantly be thinking about, hey, I've been following this driver for how long? Do I have enough of a gap between our machines? As the 39 going to be lapped once again. But I mean, that just something that could be distracting to a driver, is checking their temps so often if you're pushing someone?
Yeah, because when you're right up behind somebody pushing, it's hard to explain, it's hard to believe, but one of your eyes is pretty much down on your temperatures, the other one's trying to look at the car in front of you to make sure you don't run into the back of them on accident or something doesn't happen while you're looking at your temperatures. And that's the toughest part here. With this many laps to go, coming to 13 this time, you still got to keep your eye on the temperatures. You can stop caring about your temperatures as soon as it hits 2 laps to go. From 2 laps to go, it's push or be pushed pretty much. So just keeping an eye on your temperatures to make sure you can even get to that position is very important.
As the driver's still staying side by side, and they're going to be staying like this for a while, but I think if drivers feel like they do not have enough fuel to make it, they're most likely going to be pitting around lap 68. I think that might be the window for a lot of them. 68 to lap 70 is the window where we're going to be seeing drivers that just say, hey, I cannot make it. They're going to have to come down around that time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to be tough, as it's going to be just pretty much a splash and go, enough to get them to the end if they come down at that time.
Lucas Cram, Brandon Hoff on the inside, feeling comfortable. But oh my goodness, who is that just got out of his shape there? That's going to be Jeremy Jones, getting extremely out of shape, touching, I believe, the apron there through the tri-oval. And that is not where you want to touch the apron at all during this race.
Not at all, but it's really tough to, as I said, down below in that very bottom groove of the tri-oval there is a big bump, and it really upsets these race cars. As you can see, there's a whole group of cars back there led by the 2 of Kyle Dagger, roughly 5 seconds behind this main pack, and I'm assuming those are the cars that are just kind of hoping that a big wreck happens and they can gain as many spots as they can.
This was the group of drivers that led the charge into the pits on that when it was 1 lap to go, under pacing on our last caution. So these are the drivers that are most likely in, hey, we're backing off, we're going to go fast enough that if you guys have to pit, we can take those positions. But we are making sure we do not have to pit. We're backing off, saving fuel.
That's very good. That's very possible too. So we could see as much as Kyle Dagger up here if these cars have to start pitting or running out of gas.
Lucas Cram still leading the inside. It's been leading this whole entire time, and there's no way that Lucas Cram, with how hard he has been pushing for this 44 machine, nor for the 1 in that manner, just because they have not been able to save fuel. They've been the Pied Pipers of their lanes and just leading the charge, that they just have not been able to save fuel. I'm expecting them both to try to figure out how to get to the inside and pit here very shortly in the next 3 laps to 2 laps.
Right on board with the Quinn Gingrich here. And now, you can't see it because actually, you know what? Let me show you guys what it did put around here. You see, we're looking at the helmet cam here of Quinn. And you can see right as he gets to the back bumper of somebody, it's really hard to see the bottom of the racetrack. So when you're on the inside lane, it makes it hard to see when you go to turn off into turn 1 or into turn 3, and you're not fine where that yellow line is. As you see here, the 48's got real sideways there suddenly, and that's a lot because it's hard to see. You see Clint Spillman trying to cut down in front of him, and he does. 40 having to back off there. I don't think the 48's going to appreciate that too much, but it's hard. It makes it hard to see the inside lane because you're never going to know where that yellow line is. Next thing you know, you're going to be turning into the corner, you're on the yellow line, your car is sliding sideways.
Well, when you said that he was sliding for a bit, that's because he did hit the apron. That was the only driver that did hit it and got a little bit squirrely, got that back end wanting to kink out on him, but able to still stay strong. But we're now starting to see the tendency of drivers when it looks like pit road is about to get busy. Everyone's starting to single file up. And looking back at those drivers that you said were 5 seconds back, it's now being led by the 19 driver of Alex. And now this group, they are 7.1 seconds back from our leader, but 5.5 seconds back from the end of our lead pack. So they're still just waiting to see when we'll see these front drivers come into the pits.
Absolutely, they are. And up front still, Lucas Cram and Garrett Maines battling for the lead. The outside lane's good, and now Garrett goes to the very inside now to block, and that's going to leave the two cars on the outside lane by themselves. That's Kyle Manger and I believe Jeremy Jones up there, all by themselves. Two-car tandem, maybe? Do you think we'll see that get up here?
I don't think they have enough momentum to get up there. They certainly are going to try, but I think they're going to stall out for at least battling for second place. I just don't see how they can get enough momentum. They need at least two more other drivers with them. 4 cars can easily make that outside lane work, but I just think it's too far now. The drivers have not notified if they're going to be coming into the pits, but certainly they're in that window of 20 laps, and you said it, last time they went as far as 23 laps was the furthest we really saw drivers go. And that's going to be happening here in the next 2 laps or so, and they haven't been saving. This is an issue.
We'll have to wait and see. Lucas allowed the one of Garrett Maines to get in front of him. Maybe that's a bit of strategy to maybe help him try to save something there. As you see another, I believe that might be the 9 pulling out to the outside lane here. But the inside lane is going to be the one that is going to be the most place to be desired, especially if you have to come to pit road.
They're calling it a lot of drivers coming into pit road this time by. As it sounds like it's actually that second group that's calling that they're coming into the pits possibly here. As they're talking and scrambling, I think they might be trying to change up. No, drivers in that second group, they're coming into the pits.
Absolutely. Now, these lead drivers could be hoping that these drivers wreck trying to get down the pit road here, maybe bring out a caution, but that doesn't look like to be happening. Heading back up to the front, we got Brandon Houff trying to get the lead from the outside lane, and they're just all over the place.
Of all the drivers that are in this lead group, I'm watching them now. Both the driver that's furthest ahead, that's going to be Ben McDonald in the 16. And then we also have our Stage 1 winner of the 38 back in 15th place. Mitchell Muma is completely off pace with Stanley. And so those drivers most likely out of this thing, but they're pitting now. It is scatter time.
Scatter time coming to pit lane. We're watching here. Couple of cars. Not as crowded as it was the first time coming down pit road. Single file now. Up here at the front, as you see them catching cars that are just coming out of pit lane. Brandon Houff with the lead right now, pitting as we are not pitting, but leading with 5 laps to go.
And all the drivers that are in this lead group right now were all the drivers that were in the middle of the lead pack. They were saving fuel the whole entire time by staying in the middle. We'll see. Have they saved enough to make it to the end, or will they have to pit this time?
Oh, they're probably going to pit. They're all single file. Like you said, I do not see them coming down or making it to the end of the race, even with 5 laps to go. So this is going to be the pit stop that's going to change everything. Here they come.
Fanning out, waiting to see who's going to be making the best moves. Will a caution happen? Gavin Jones misses pit lane. The 12 machine completely off pace, and now on the apron and about to be blown by Mitchell Muma and Stanley.
Right, Mitchell Muma and others, though, they're staying out here as well. Gavin Jones, unfortunately, missed pit lane. Hopefully he has enough gas that he could get back around the racetrack. 4 laps to go. Mitchell Muma going to take the lead here, and I'm sure he's going to have to come down pit road. This could work out pretty good. If these cars can come down pit road, get the splash that they need just to make it to the end, and then come back out and blend in, they might be able to blend in as the race leaders, or at least in the lead pack, that might, and to be able to help them.
Speaking of the lead pack, the drivers that are leading the second charge, trying to now lead the front pack, that's going to be Christopher Tate, who is just coming with a head of steam, getting a lot of help from Lucas Cram. And you also got yourself Manger, Nick Olson, and Maines all in line. as now they're going to be running in 4th place. And in front of them, Gavin Jones finally pit, Mitchell Muma and Stanley. They've been off pace, a lot of these drivers, and they are now still out there on track. They've been out on course for 24 laps. Have they saved enough? As we're waiting to see if they're going to be pitting this time by.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to keep an eye out. We're going to be 2 laps to go coming this time by. This is going to be interesting. See the 34. Muma comes up. Is Muma out? Because he just got real loose there.
Is he out? He's slowing down. He is really low. Nope, they're both coming into the pits this time.
He could be out. Muma could be out trying to save as much. Muma could be out. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to have enough. He's definitely kind of speeding on pit lane here. I don't see him able to accelerate much at all. He could be out of gas. Kyle Manger now is going to take over the possible first spot. It's going to be, it looks like 5 cars to settle it.
Well, 5 cars are settled right there, and then behind them you got Brandon Hoff as well as Strayer, and also our Daytona winner. 52 machine just lingering, close enough for the draft, but almost a little bit too far back. His main's going to be leading the charge on the outside.
Big time problems with the 38 machine of Sean Howell. I believe he may have gotten a black flag because he is coming back down pit road right now.
Taking a quick splash and a go for the 38 machine, our stage 1 winner.
Oh, gets in trouble.
Ooh, they are all fanning out, and what once was only 5 drivers is now up to 6. About to be more. More machines getting connected up as the one's going to go in the inside. Go into the middle, trying to make it 3 wide for 2nd place.
White flag is in the air. 1 lap of racing to go. Nick Olson, the race leader, coming up on a lapped car. And he's got, I believe Nick Olson's got a teammate behind him. Well, we'll wait and have to see how it goes. As he's got Lucas Cram in the 44. He's going to be fighting for a place to go.
Lucas Schrader going to be at the end of the line of this. We saw Pandemonium last week. It's going to be a little bit smaller this time around, but certainly the mayhem there is blocks being shown. Nick Olson not giving any space, as now it's going to be the one. Hoff going to be bumped up to the outside. He's going to need some help as the lap traffic gets out of the way. That was Spillman, and now it's going to be a 4-car race. Who's going to get it done? Coming out of 4, Nick Olson, Manger, also Maines, and Cram. Cram stuck boxed in the back half of the field. Nick Olson, he's trying to hold off, and I think he's going to get it done here for the Grip Marketing 200. Here comes Mager on the outside, but it's going to be Nick Olson.
Olson just got it. Oh, that was incredible.
0.006 of a second. Nick Olson gets it done in the 24 machine, but Manger certainly gave it his best effort on the outside.
Down to a 5-car battle. Or excuse me, it was a 5-car. Pandemonium happened afterwards. But Nick Olson and that 24 machine gets his first victory of the season.
Gary Main's going to be finishing in 3rd, Kyle Manger in 2nd, Lucas Cram in 4th place, and Christopher Tate is going to get a 5th place finish. But, oh man, Michael, that's what green flag pit stops do. They get everyone so strung out that by the time that it comes to the end, usually it's only about 6 drivers that really are battling it against one another.
And there comes Nick Olson celebrating, sliding through the grass here. Congratulations to Nick Olson. That was an incredible last lap there. Mitchell Muma and others almost made it.
Yeah, they came up about 3 laps short. And a lot of the field, they were going to be short as well. And those late pit stops, if you made a mistake, if you came in a little bit too slow, exiting too slow, it hurt you from staying with the front pack or even having enough help. And it was those drivers that pitted early. One of the first, I believe it was actually the second group that pitted from the front pack of Nick Olson and others. They were able to stay up front and get the job done, as the 24 and the 25 got to be burning it out together.
Teammates finishing 1st and 2nd. Absolutely incredible. And what an amazing finish for these two as we're watching them do their burnout here. Just right there in front of the crowd here at Talladega.
Certainly was an amazing race for all the drivers involved here as we continue to look at the final results. Any big shocking things about looking at our final result here, Michael?
Not at all. It was a heck of a race, heck of a finish. Look at the 19 car come back, finish in the top 10 after being a lap down and hanging out towards the back. Got his lap back, let the cars come down pit road, did what he needed to do, and he comes back, and Alex finishes in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, that 19 machine was a lap down. I think maybe even 2 laps down at one moment, able to come back with all the different cautions that came out. So now we look at 11th through 20th. These are some of the drivers that were kind of hoping for better days. I mean, Mitchell Muma and also Stanley trying to be up front with their staying out longer than everyone else, just wasn't able to get it done. And, I think the biggest disappointment had to be for the 38. I think Sean was hoping to possibly be up front, but had to make an extra pit stop that put him all the way back in 18th place.
Christopher Lewis rounds out the field at finishing 27, 28 laps down. Fortunately, got into some accidents and was all out of fast repairs when a wreck occurred. So tough break for Christopher Lewis. He'll come back in the next race, and I think it's time. We might have some interviews coming up here.
We are still waiting on some of the drivers as we have gotten them all up and ready. We'll be starting things off with our third place finisher of Garrett Maines.
I wasn't actually trying to shuffle you, genuinely. Like, you can watch it on my stream. Now, at the end of the race, oh yeah, it was like a 6v1.
Garrett, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
That was certainly an eventful race there at the end. You tried to find an opening, a little bit more help, but you just weren't able to get close enough. Third place, though, a great run for yourself in the one.
What is help? I didn't see any of that tonight.
Yeah, it seemed like it was one of the hardest things for you to find. We were seeing you trying to make all your moves on the outside, but just no one seemed to want to help you. I mean, what else could you have possibly done there at the end?
Bring friends. I learned after tonight, I kind of said it on my stream too. I figured it was going to come down to this. All the people that are on the same team are all really good at plate racing, and so they're all at the front. And so basically, they're not going to help me. They're going to help their teammates, which is, how it should be. But man, that makes it hard for me. So, maybe I'll have to bring some ESC teammates over or some other friends and, see what we got for next week. But man, that was tough. That was a lot of defense, a lot of offense trying to hold positions. Just, there was no such thing as help. Like, I had to make solo car moves a lot of times and force people's hands, to help for at least one straightaway. Just, it was crazy. You saw the ending. It was a 6v1.
It was, but you made it work and you got third place out of it at least. It was an incredible finish there. What were you guys thinking from that restart on, knowing that you were just outside your window to make it to the end?
I was waiting on them to pit. I didn't really know what the strategy was. As soon as they said they were pitting, it made it easier. I was going to peel off as soon as they peeled off. So I just needed cars to come with me. And of course, I don't know how I beat them off of pit road. They may have waited so that they could all, get a run on me, because there was no way that I could back off as much as I did. Like, I was already running half throttle, and I was afraid that if I ran half throttle too long, that they were all just going to blow my doors off anyway. But it is what it is. There was no better situation to be in. Just, there was no good situation there. So we made the best of it, and hopefully next week, I'll have some buddies on the track.
Oh, we'd love to see more competition up in the field, Garrett. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I got to thank Smithfield, 101 CBD, SimSeat, Strickland Hardy, Bradley Mechanical, Linux, all the guys at Elliott Sadler Esports for all their hard work this year. And hopefully we can continue our momentum from the Pro Series into the Coke Series.
That's Garrett Maines in the one machine, able to get it done. Third place finish here at Talladega, and good luck next week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Now it's going to be second place. Kyle Menger up in the booth for an interview here, and his 25 machine certainly went for a try there on the outside. Kyle, it's Sam and Michael. You got us?
Hey, how's it going?
That was certainly an effort on your shot. I mean, it came up slightly short there, only a couple of thousandths off. But was there anything else you possibly could have done to try to steal this win away from Nick?
I was just watching the replay there, and there was nothing I can do. I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to get clear off or clear high a little bit earlier to have a better shot and more time to get a run. But it was just never there. I had Garrett on my outside until we got to the triable. So it was a good effort. 2 seconds to start the season. So had a lot of fun tonight. It was a really good race out there.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle, you kind of proved it to us here today. It doesn't matter where you started. You started back in 20th place, was able to get up to second, almost won this race. Is the strategy of staying back really your goal, or are you wanting to fight up front the whole entire race?
I usually like to let the earlier wrecks kind of play out. I don't want my race ruined and having to use a fast repair too early. And it's just it's very action packed. So trying to do that for 75 laps, you got to pick your time when you're ready to go battle. And luckily, I've found myself in a good position these last few races, and hope to continue to do the same.
Man, you had a heck of a run there at the end. What I asked Garrett Maines this. I'll ask you this: what was going through your mind on that last restart when you knew that you were just outside your fuel window?
Kind of how I like it, honestly. I like having pit stops play out. I feel like it was one of my strengths, and by then you kind of shake some people out, and you're able to flip track position pretty quickly. So kind of played in my hands there, and I think we only had like 5 of us in the lead pack. So 5 is a lot better chances than 20 cars in the lead pack.
It certainly is. Kyle, a great run for yourself. Like we said, almost able to steal this win away. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Still no sponsors this week. Hoping 2 second places will start to reconsider, some people's opinion. But same shout outs always. Flatout Racing Network, Lucas, everyone at Grit Marketing for sponsoring the event. Came 5 1,000s close to $10, but we'll go for it again next week.
Yeah, I mean, so close. You almost got it. That is a great run by the 25 machine of Kyle Manger. Good luck next week as we go back to Daytona.
Thanks. See you there.
And now we're going to be bringing in our winner, Nick Olson. Nick, it's Sam and Michael up in the booth. You got us?
Well, if I said no, would you still hear me? No, I'm kidding. Hey, how y'all doing?
We would just ask again, of course. But Nick, an amazing run on your part. You had to fend off so many hungry drivers that were trying to steal that away from you. But how was that final lap for yourself?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I had to fend off 2 of my best friends in Brandon Hoff and Kyle Manger and Lucas was right there. And man, it's nice being able to race around people you can trust. Garrett Maines is great all night. Chris Tate, great driver. G Strayer, man, it really was a lot of grit up there at the end. You love to see it. But it's great to work together with people you trust, and to get a win like that in that same manner is over the best I think that this league has to offer is special.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, we saw that it was going to come down to a last couple of laps pit stop. When it came down to that last pit stop, the money stop, what was going through your mind of what did you have to do perfectly to get out of there?
Man, I really didn't think much of it other than I was in the back. Like I was 15th or 16th when we decided to pit. So I was able to hop Steven coming off a pit road, or else I would have been in the back. And I think that's what ultimately cost Steve a shot at being up there, because he was the last car in line. And when we all pack up together, they kind of leave the last car there. So I was able to get tucked up there and push Kyle up there, and then ultimately lead that outside line and eventually get pushed down to the bottom. And at that point, it's just how fast can you block? And that's kind of what we had on the last lap. Brandon had a run on the outside, had to throw a block, and that let Kyle kind of cool his motor off a little bit. So by the time I came down, he was ready to push me to the flag, and then obviously you got to expect him to make a move. So, what a finish.
Yeah, man, it was fun to watch and everything, especially those last couple laps of excitement. So I'm going to ask you the same thing I've asked the other 2 drivers. What was going through your mind on that last restart when you realized that you were just outside your fuel window?
I didn't think much of it. I think from the time that we went green, I knew I was making another pit stop. So I wasn't really thinking too much about the fuel window. I knew that we were going to pit late, and when we were going to pit was going to be the big question. But this group, time and time again, absolutely crushes green flag pit stops. Best group to race with. My personal group. I know I know there were a couple of folks who maybe didn't hit that breaking point quite right at the beginning of the race to my detriment, but we took the faster pair then, and of course, coming to the end, it took another green flag pit stop. So I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't checking my mirrors as we were coming in, but everything went well.
Yeah, Nick, last question for you. We heard from Garrett. He feels like he needs a little bit more friends. More competition sounds like it might be coming in. How does that make you feel knowing that you were racing with your friends? Now there might be more competition coming.
Bring them on. I could take them. I don't mean to sound pompous or anything like that, but it's a super speedway league for a reason. Anybody can come out here and win, and nobody's better than anybody else. And anybody could put themselves in the right spot and take it home. So the more the merrier. Makes it more challenging and more competent drivers to race with. There's a lot of great drivers here. So what's 5 more in the grand scheme of things? I'm ready. Garrett's a hell of a competitor. He shuffled me, he shuffled Robbie, he shuffled a couple other people with front end damage while he had front end damage. So he did a good job keeping his car out front and making the aggressive moves that he needed to. But ultimately, thankfully we came out on top.
Well, Nick, before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout outs.
Obviously, thank you to Kyle Dagger, Grit Marketing, my whole group, Kyle, Lucas, Steve, Brandon, Robbie, everybody at Grit, Chris Tate, and all the guys that I worked with all night. And we have a hell of a group of guys that come out here every Wednesday, and we hope y'all are enjoying it.
That's Nick Olson in the 24 machine, able to get the win here at Talladega, and good luck next week when we go back to Daytona.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Well, Michael, an incredible end to this race. A little bit not as chaotic as the first race of the season, but still dramatic end. 0.005 of a second was the difference between the 24 and the 25.
Absolutely. A very close finish. Exciting, just like at Daytona. I love calling this series, man. It's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, it is amazing to continue and watch. Michael, we go to the Legacy Daytona track for race number 3 of the season next week. Any thoughts while we're going to be heading that way?
Just be prepared. It's going to be bumpy. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be harder to hold lines. Might see some more wrecks down the line just because of how bumpy the racetrack is, but these drivers know what they're doing and know how to put on an exciting show. I can't wait.
It is going to be amazing to see here on the Flatout Racing Network, though. More racing action throughout the week as tomorrow it's going to be the RTG Talladega Challenge to be seen. And then also on Friday night, there's going to be some RTG iRacing, dirt track racing to be heard on Friday night. And then on the 24th, we'll be back to Clutch Drop Cup Series racing. Can't wait for more of the racing action here on the Flatout Racing Network. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow and like on our Facebook and Twitter. Michael, tonight was an amazing race. Thanks for being up at the booth with me.
Absolutely no problem. It was fun. I can't wait for next week.
Thank you for watching SARG Superspeedway Racing here tonight for the Grit Marketing 200 here at Talladega Speedway. For myself, Sam Dyer, and for Michael Norman, thanks for watching another Flatout Racing Network broadcast. We'll be seeing you all next week at the Legacy Daytona track.